Hello and welcome everyone to another podcast from Mission Elixir. My name is Sondos. I'm the co-founder of Mission Elixir.
And my name is Devansh, and I'm the founder of Mission Elixir.
And today we're going to be talking about financial literacy. So right now, Devansh, let's start with what is financial literacy? Let's say somebody who doesn't know what is financial literacy. How would we actually be able to define it to them?
So it can involve things like budgeting, investing, and the financial skills involving money.
So basically, financial literacy is like the deep knowledge, and actually this knowledge never ends throughout your life. You keep on learning every single day. You need to learn about different things. You need to learn about how to budget your money. You need to learn about investing. You need to learn also about the difference between assets and liabilities. This is actually something we're going to be discussing next. And you need to understand the difference between fixed and variable cost as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what else could actually be there with financial literacy? And I think getting into financial literacy, you not only with taking courses, but also surrounding yourself with people who are in the financial industry, like bankers, etc. Reading books. One of the best books we have read is actually Rich Dad Poor Dad, which we're going to quote a lot in this book. Yes, so what else could we be adding to this?
So what is the main theory that's discussed in Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I think the main theory is that you have to try to make your money work for you. And this is something that we're also going to be getting into this podcast. The thing is, most people, they follow something called the rat race. There's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5, but there's a difference between you're kind of forcing yourself to work a 9 to 5 in order for you not to die without the money, and instead of having kind of that money automatically come in, but you're working something that you like as a 9 to 5. Does that make sense? So for example, a lot of people can work 9 to 5, but it could be the best work they could ever have. It could even be their own business they're working a 9 to 5 with. But the thing is, they're not working this 9 to 5 because they have to, or else they can't pay their rent, they can't make their family happy. No, they're working that 9 to 5 up and below. So in other ways, they have other ways that bring for them income. These are actually called passive income, which we're also going to be discussing in that podcast.
What are some ways of earning passive income?
What could be some ways of earning passive income? Okay, basically I'm still working as an English teacher actually because I enjoy teaching kids. But the thing is, one of the best ways that I have read about somewhere that, for example, I was thinking I want to start a business that I can teach many kids, okay? But this is not really the passive income because I have to work in order for me to make that money. So then a friend of mine who's extremely a genius, he actually suggested that idea for me. He was telling me that, why don't you create a platform that you can actually hire teachers, and those teachers, you're going to be paying them a percentage, and they can be teaching those kids, and you're going to be getting that percentage in your pocket at the end. So basically, the kids are being taught, there's teachers who are earning income, and I'm earning income without literally doing anything. As a matter of fact, actually, I did that with your work a lot. Yeah. So the thing is, I used to create passive income without me actually doing anything. Now, so if we're going to dive deeper into passive income, what do you think, let's say, a person who's a 20-year-old, just somebody who's in university, how can they start to create, even if it's those are passive income, if it wins $5, $10 a month, but just a start there, what can they actually be doing right now?
Well, you can basically start businesses and put them on autopilot in a way. And then also maybe, say for example, write books.
Okay.
Write a few books, put it on Amazon, and that's a passive income as it sells.
Mm-hmm.
But could also be...
Also, another thing for college students that I think it's a great idea is the selling of notes. Basically, not all kids have always the capacity to attend the lectures. So somehow, if you're that type of kid who's a little bit of a nerd who notes down everything in your lecture, maybe you can sell those notes out there to not all the students that attend, or even to some students that would want to read your notes. So I think this is also another way to create passive income because you've already created the notes one time, but then the sales are going to go somehow automatically later on. Mm-hmm. So that could be a kind of a small idea that could work as well as a university student.
And more ways of earning passive income is maybe investing in private companies or startups.
Exactly. And that could be even much cheaper than investing in, let's say, okay, Amazon stock is $3,000. Can you imagine a student investing $3,000? So the thing is, but no, if you, let's say, look into startup companies that have some sort of potential and they have a good business plan, good revenue model, maybe look at all of these things, then try to figure out if something like a company that you really believe in, then start investing there. Maybe it could be maximum $100, and that $100, let's say in 5 years, it could multiply to, let's say, $100,000, $50,000, and somehow you have created passive income while literally you're not doing anything. So I think this is also a great idea. All right, so next, we're going to be discussing the difference between assets and liabilities. So let's have a dive deeper into assets. I think we all are aware that assets are something that puts money in your pocket. Liability is just something that you buy but keeps taking money out of your pocket. I think, could you give us some examples of that?
So, for example, let's say an asset being a resource that creates value, or it could be that like machinery, it could be like a plot or a house, something like that.
Okay, but what type of house? Because we can also put house as a liability.
It can, but something that appreciates in value.
All right, so for example, we can say real estate trading.
Look at this.
Then yes, exactly, that's thing you're about. And also, for example, a lot of people think your car, when you buy a car, this is an asset. It's not, because a car will depreciate in value by time.
Actually, did you know that as soon as you buy a car and you take it out of the showroom, it depreciates at least 20-30%?
Yeah, that is true, unfortunately. And also, like, look at the amount of money you're going to spend on the gas, on the taking it to the mechanic, all of these things, and just look at, like, literally in 5 years, it will be like quarter of the price or even less. So a car does not appreciate in value unless you're using a car for business, and maybe that could be a different story, because you're using the car in a way to generate income for yourself. This could somehow be an asset. But if you're just using a car for the sake of luxury or for the sake of transportation, then it's definitely a liability.
Say, for example, rental car company, for them it's an asset.
Yeah.
And they actually tend to sell that certain car after a certain kilometer, range and time period, because they know it will depreciate in value.
Which type?
In a certain time period, and after reaches a certain amount of kilometers driven.
Oh.
So they sell it as second-hand cars and get the value back, and they make a profit for what is, the time period they got that.
Oh.
So that's one way. But then you also have these vintage cars, and they actually are assets.
They actually appreciate in value. That is true. Actually, I have a lot of my friends who are so into vintage cars, and now I understand why. Okay, so now we understand the difference between assets and liabilities. So let's try to look into the difference between fixed cost and variable cost. So how can we start defining fixed cost?
Fixed cost could be anything that's, say, for example, added to a product every month, every time. And variable cost being something that ranges maybe the amount of products sold, or maybe fluctuates with different number of products sold.
So basically, if we're going to define fixed cost and variable cost, fixed costs are basically the cost that you cannot really change. Like every single month, you're going to have to be paying this amount. Variable cost is what you can actually control. So for example, with fixed cost, it could be your rent. For example, it could be the electricity bill. You have to pay an electricity bill every single month. It could be your water bill. But for example, with variable cost, it's the cost that you can control. For example, your groceries, you buying some clothing, your apparel, all of these type of things, they go into variable cost. So if you want to somehow reduce the cost and the expenses you have every month, maybe try focusing more on the variable cost. For fixed cost, actually, we could have a whole other idea of how to reduce your fixed cost, even as a student. That could be another idea for our podcasts. All right, now this conversation is going to start to get deeper, because we're also going to show with you what we have went through with our financial journey and what did we learn and how did we overcome it. So I think the first question for actually both of us is going to be, what financial struggle have we experienced and how did we overcome it?
Say, for example, you start up your business and, the first initial stages are very, very important to keep that business afloat. There could be certain costs that are involved, and it really, initially, it's something just a lot of costs, but no end out. So you were basically putting money in, but there's no outcome of that.
Okay.
It all comes down to your belief in that specific idea and how far you will keep on doing it and taking it until it starts generating income.
Yeah, and I think also observing the journey, observing what is happening that is wrong, that could be slowing your growth, not only financially, but overall as a brand. This is a very important aspect to clarify. And overall, startup businesses, like it does take a lot of time to see that, not progress, but to actually see the proper revenue that you're expecting coming in, the type of revenue that will probably make you quit your 9-to-5 job. So I do agree with you about this, that yes, it's also about faith. And startup businesses, we do suffer a lot financially in the beginning because...
So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Right out of college, when we started developing an air purifier.
Mm-hmm.
We developed it and the first prototype was ready. But to develop it even further, it required a certain amount of costs. And, although the idea was there, everything was there, we sort of put a pause to it until there was enough funding to make that specific air purifier to the idea that we initially wanted to create.
Well, but now you have Elixir as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, right now we're working on many projects. It's not only about Elixir, but also the air purifier was one of the first things he spoke to me about when we started working together. So that was a very interesting project. And I know for a fact at some point we are going to carry it on.
So what is one experience that you have gone through your own self that you would like to say to us?
Well, I have been through a lot of financial struggles, but the thing is I have been always a hustler, like since I was already 16. Alhamdulillah, I did come from somehow a financially okay family. But the thing is, I always wanted to make my own money. I always wanted to be that independent woman. So the thing is, when I was 16, I actually wanted to buy a new phone. And I did not want to ask my dad. I wanted to be like, a pink girl. I can do it by myself. So what happened is, I was living in a city called Jubail in Saudi Arabia. And at that city, it was still kind of developing. There was not a lot of brands over there. So what I used to do is I noticed that there's a huge demand. This is the first thing, an idea for a business. You actually watch out for the demand. I noticed there's a huge demand for cosmetic products in my school, but because girls, it was hard for them to transport and go outside, go to the mall, buy stuff. And also because there was really less brands that were available at that time, I just decided to create that opportunity for myself. And as a matter of fact, I made I think in the first 2 months, just from selling in my school, I made about 2,500 Saudi riyals, which is like more than 10,000 Turkish lira, which is like more than 50,000 rupees. So the thing is, for a school student, not even like a university student, that was like a lot of money. And I ended up not even using all of it to buy the phone that I wanted. I bought a cheaper phone, then I kept that amount and I reinvested it again and again. So the thing is, I've been a hustler since that time. So I went off to university and I continued looking for jobs. I worked as many things as a financial consultant. I started getting into marketing. I started reading about it. I worked as a barista. I worked as many things. And this is why even in your university, try to somehow explore in many, many areas. Don't always stop in one area. And also try to find somehow jobs that could be relevant to your field. You may think, okay, if let's say I'm a doctor, I can't work anything regarding medicine, but you can actually be in the research and development part of medicine as well. This is something you could be adding to your career and to your experience. So by the time that you graduate, you have more experience than other people that are graduating. Maybe this is something you should also put in mind. I swear I have advices of gold. I'm not even kidding. Okay, anyway, so basically, after that, by a couple of years, I wanted to become this time completely independent from my family. Not even my dad helps me with school or anything like that. So what I did is I started aiming for scholarships. I started wanting to transfer from the university I was in to another one. And then that did work. That did happen, alhamdulillah. And at that time, I had only 2 Turkish lira in my bank account. 2 Turkish lira, that's literally less than $0.2. Not even kidding. It was that low. I had that much in my bank account. And I traveled from Antalya to Cyprus with 2 Turkish lira in my bank account. I was completely broke. But the thing is, I had some makeup with me that I bought from a long time ago. And the thing is, there was a couple of girls that wanted to buy some of them. Somehow that kept me a little bit going until somehow I got a scholarship. And then after that, I started working in some things regarding my university that was giving me like little money here and there. And I was also kind of teaching online. And then, this was kind of my life at that time. Then I had to travel to Antalya and I found a job. And this is where my journey actually started to begin with my financial journey. I worked as a teacher. And then after that, I started focusing on marketing all the way until now as I become a marketing specialist and the co-founder of Mission Elixir. So the thing is, this part plays a huge role in faith. I think I had a really strong faith in myself and God that I am not going to stay with a 2 TL in my bank account. And it did happen. And also I had the technique and the will to keep getting better and not just to sit there and cry about where I am, but to continue working. And it did happen. And right now I'm 23 and it's been like almost 3 years. I'm completely financially independent from my family. I travel the world and it's actually been great. So have that faith in yourself and also have that plan. And I can promise you this will work.
Say, for example, someone is just starting off, maybe a university student, so on.
Yeah.
And they want to double their investment, whatever amount it is. What steps can they take for this initial steps?
Well, I think they should do what I did with the makeup, honestly. Like when I was selling makeup back in my school, I found a demand and I was able to get the products in bulk with much cheaper. So I think they should look for some sort of opportunity like that. Like I think one of the examples, let's say they have 1,000 rupees, okay. What can they do with that 1,000 rupees? I noticed one thing over here in India that books here are sold very, very freaking cheap. Like one book is originally like 11 euros, but over here it can be sold for 200 rupees. That's like 20 Turkish lira, that's like $1. Okay, so imagine a person actually goes and discovers that opportunity. All right. So the thing is, if he sells it at $2, he will be making like one whole dollar as profit. If he sells it at $2, at $3, he made $2 as profit. Like that's like 200% more. So the thing is, he should actually think about that. For example, a place where he can buy very good quality stuff for much cheaper, sells it at a place that are willing to buy much more with much more what is it called? With much more value compared to the place he bought it in. Like for example, right now I bought about 10 books. So the thing is, I could read all of those books and then I choose to sell them with the original price. And the thing is, that's completely okay because this is their original price. I'm not really fooling anybody. But because I bought them from here with so much more cheaper, I could somehow create a huge profit margin while I'm doing that. So it's something students can be doing as well. Not only with books, it could be with clothes. It could be with notes, as I said. It could also be with, basically, if you're a person who's good at explaining things and you're really sure about what you're doing, you can choose to give some sort of classes to, and I actually gave this advice to one of my university friends back then. He was really smart. And the thing is, I noticed he was just explaining to everybody for free. And this was taking a lot of his time. I was telling him that your time is worth money. So the thing is, start charging people. And since it's university students, don't charge a lot. And this is exactly what he did. And he came after a couple months and he thanked me. And he was just like, so this has become the one source of income that I have for the past months. And I was just like, I'm very happy for him. So try to always somehow search for opportunity, search for the demand around you, and somehow, clutch into it. I think this could be the perfect advice for somebody who's just starting, or like you having 200 Turkish lira or you having 1,000 rupees in your bank account.
So basically finding a demand in the market and sourcing a product for that specific.
Exactly. Yes. So search for the demand, look for the opportunity, and provide it. Now, if we've discussed what is the financial struggles that we have actually went through, but now if we want to look about, let's say there is a teenager that is watching this video, or let's say there is a college student or someone just in their early 20s, somebody just graduated or whatever, they're looking at this video. What is the best advice we can give them into investment into their financial journey right now?
Well, it all depends what amount they have to invest and what is time period they're looking for that investment to return, or give them a return on investment.
So I think there is like long-term and short-term investment as well. Are you expecting somehow return like on daily basis, like trading, or are you expecting more to leave that amount for a very, very long time? And you can
I think with the public stock market, initially it's gonna take a very long time.
And it's not always assured, especially with public trading as well.
So what
kind of have to say?
My suggestion include to stay away from the public stock market and rather invest in for example, the fastest way would be either if you have your own idea to build upon that idea, maybe run with a few people, maybe college friends there.
Yeah.
Invest in their business or work with them in creating that idea.
Okay, yeah, I think that is a great idea. And honestly, if you're in your teenagehood or you're in your early 20s, the best investment you can make into your financial world basically is by reading. You need to start reading more and more about, let's say, reading Warren Buffett, reading Robert Kiyosaki, read what they have actually, what are the financial struggles they faced, what are the financial advices that they are giving, and continue on actually exploring by yourself. Don't be afraid to play with money. Money can always come back. Sometimes we clinch to the idea that this money is not going to come back, and also this is a form of manifestation. This is why money does not actually come back. When you think like, that's okay, I can use this money to somehow understand something new, I can choose to invest in my knowledge, I can choose to invest in myself, and you know for a fact deep inside that money is going to manifest back to you, it's going to come back to you, then that's completely fine. But as long as you clinch into the idea that money is not going to come back, then it will actually not come back. So I think the first step is, before working into thinking that I want to invest into that company or this company, maybe I think to start investing in books, invest in yourself, invest in your learning, maybe find a mentor. We could be your mentors, by the way. So you can feel free to contact us at missionelixir.com. Okay, so we discussed and we showed you kind of like our struggles with our finances, things that we have went through before. But right now, let's look at what are the best advices that kind of made us who we are today, and maybe it could also help you as well. So what are the best advices that helped you manage your money or your relationship with money better?
One of the advices, as it's actually also extremely reached out for that, is to make money work for you or create a passive income.
Yes, exactly.
And one way to do that is to build a business and put it on autopilot or something that keeps on going while you work on something else. It's and
also another reason why you should really create passive income is because you never know, like when you're kind of have to be in this job in order for you to get money. How about if you want to take a vacation? Or how about if, God forbid, you fall sick? then who's gonna bring you food on the table? So the thing is, when you create passive income, basically your life does not really revolve around the source of income. So the thing is, this just comes automatically to you while you're sitting at home, you're with your family. You get to even have a bit deeper connection with your friends, your husband, your wife, etc. So creating a passive income also somehow creates a more fulfilled life, because you're not now focusing on the rat race or just running after the money. But right now you're focusing on actually building a healthier family, a healthier, physically friends, a healthier relationship even with your own self when you have passive income. So it's not only about the money. People just think about, just about the money, but no, it's about all of these things that follow. So yeah.
It's also basically about how you use that money as a tool to, you can either go buy something that is sold somewhere for $100 when its actual price is $10.
Yeah.
It could be the same thing, but, it's also about being street smart, I find. How to manage that money.
Yes, learn how to bargain. Yes, I have learned how to bargain in India. In Egypt, I'm so bad at it, but in India, I'm learning a little bit. Okay, so I think also what good financial advice is, I have received in my life. Actually, there's many things that have affected my financial mindset. Which first thing comes from my parents. I have came, yes, as I said, from a financially okay family. My dad was having a high income. However, unfortunately, my dad was never had a passive income and never had multiple income streams. So the thing is, this affected our family very badly when my dad lost his job during COVID. And it was a very hard time that we all passed through. And this was also one of the reasons that really pushed me that I have to be financially independent in order to help my family. So when I was looking at that time...
Yes.
Okay. So the thing is, reflecting back on this time, I realized that probably we wouldn't be in that problem if somehow my parents, they were more educated at that time about multiple streams of income. It's not necessarily about passive income, but it's about having different sources of income. That basically, if one stick falls, the whole entire building does not fall, because there's other columns that actually hold the ceiling. Okay, so if you remove one, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. So this is the first thing that I've learned. This is the main thing that I'm building on right now. By building my businesses, by working a job, by also building my own YouTube channel, which you should check out. I'll leave the link over here. So all of these things as we try to create multiple streams of income. That's the first advice that I've received. I think second advice that I would say to people is when I started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad have opened my mindset to so many things, basically escaping the rat race, understanding investment. But the most important thing I have learned is paying myself first. So any income that I've ever received, I have always paid myself first. This is how I was able to create fast savings as well. This is how I was able to start looking into other opportunities to invest into myself, whether by traveling, whether by reading, whether by educating, etc. So these things were kept aside. Also, I was able to understand my relationship with money as a spiritual thing through the book The Secret, for example. I understood the art of manifestation, and right now I think I'm becoming a very powerful manifester, because I have many stories, probably I will share that later, but many things I have manifested, and not only they came true, but they came even multiplied with my relationship with money. All right, now, one of the most important topics that is not discussed enough are interests. Do you believe that somehow when you take loans from people, they should have interest, or from banks? What is just your general idea about interest? What do you think about them? Just your personal opinion.
Let's take, for example, how they started. And the reason this individual was suicidal in the first place is because he had to take loans from banks.
Yeah.
And over time, interest kept growing onto this loan, and he got pressured into a certain situation. So let's say, for example, banks of the future, they should not charge interest, and they should not, say, for example, put pressure or take possessions on that specific individual to the point of, that the person goes into such a situation in the first place.
I agree with you 100%. And the problem is, in the past, there used to be something like, let's say, for example, when you borrow something from your friend, like 100 Turkish lira, $100, they ask you that you have to return it with like $110 or 110 Turkish lira. So the thing is, this is also the idea of interest that just does not make sense at times. I do believe in one thing though. I do believe that, let's say you're returning an amount after a very, very long time, like let's say after 5 years or 10 years. So probably the amount of 5,000 Turkish lira or 100 Turkish lira today is probably not going to be the same after 5 years. So maybe what I can do is give that person the equivalent of the 5,000 in today's world, something like that. Does that make sense to you, or do you still think that this could be like interest? Think, for example, I borrowed from you, like for example, what happened with the Turkish lira? The Turkish lira just a few years ago, like $1 was 3 Turkish lira. Now $1 is 19 Turkish. So obviously the amount or value for $100 Turkish lira 3 years ago is not the same as that. So do you think that it is even the right thing for that person? Like, I've borrowed from them that amount. When I come to return, I return it to them with today's value. I don't think this is actually considered interest. But the thing is, if someone actually does think it's interest and have a valid reason why and a proof, like, please put that in the comment section down below. And also you tell me, what do you think about that?
Well, if somebody borrows in $100 and they keep it in $100 and return in $100, that's okay. And if they convert it into a different currency and that sort of fluctuates in value, so the original amount should actually meet the amount that's returned, because the value of that goes that.
Exactly. I think that as well. Because let's say somebody borrowed from me like $100 back then, but $100 today is not the same value. I would just want the $100. I don't want 110, I want 105. I just want the $100. But the thing is, how about if $100 have lost its value? So you have to check what is the value of it at that time and how is it equivalent to today's world before returning that amount. And also, I think one of the best things that you have said about how interest should be banned from all banks. And as a matter of fact, it's also prohibited in my religion. Like, it's completely prohibited in Islam, the fact of interest. It's one of the biggest sins actually over there. So the thing is, not only, let's say, the rich countries like with Saudi Arabia, Dubai, or even Qatar, they are following the technically less or no interest, but it's also countries that are non-Muslim like France and Germany. Over there, their interest rate is 0 point something. Because they have also came to awareness that interest can literally ruin your life, can ruin the whole entire financial system of the country. So the thing is, the more countries that are aware of that, the more they can grow financially and they can become even more, even with social class, it could kind of end with that as well. So this is something that we can look into about how can we start to create somehow investments, or let's say loans to people without interest, but still retain that value we have given to them.
Say, for example, there is an individual who is approaching a bank and they want to take a loan.
Yeah.
First, understand what is the reason behind their taking that loan.
Yes.
Say someone wants to start a business.
Right.
Then maybe you give them extra help and tools to make them take that loan and help that business succeed in the first place.
Yep.
That would be a better, steps to take. Rather give them the loan, charge them interest, but rather extend a helping hand to make that successful in the first place.
Yes, I agree about that. And it's also kind of a way for an investment for you. Like, when you're investing in somebody who has an idea, you're kind of learning what they are doing. Like, this is also somehow knowledge investment. And also, if that idea does work, you're also having a return on your financial investment. So I think there could be very good things that could go into this.
Thank you for joining us in this session where we discuss financial literacy.
Now stay tuned for our next session talking about different topics. Tell us in the comments down below what would you like to know more about next. Stay tuned with us and check out our website, missionelixir.com.
If you'd like to contribute towards Mission Elixir, please buy any of our merchandise from our website, www.missionelixir.com, or any of the marketplaces such as Amazon, Flipkart, Meesho.
And stay tuned for our webinars that happen every single weekend, and they're completely for free. We talk about various topics, rich topics. So stay tuned for that as well.
Every product contributes towards Mission Elixir and helps saving lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.